Good morning, everybody. By the previous video, we have completed discussions up to Article 242, which were related to administration of Union territories from Articles 239 to 242. Articles 243 up to Article 243 G related to local bodies, namely Gram Panchayats and municipalities. Our mission is to study the Constitution to find out wherever it was misused, misunderstood, and misapplied, as a result of which the country is suffering political instability, political uncertainty, political immorality, poverty, and social strife. As regards this inquiry, the provisions relating to local bodies are insipid. They do not evoke much interest. However, there are certain provisions to know with regard to local bodies. Today, I will discuss Article 243D and 243T. There is a popular belief in India that the Constitution provided for caste-based reservations to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and backward classes, of course, and that Dr. Ambedkar was responsible for keeping these reservations. But please be noted that this is a myth. Indian Constitution did not provide for caste-based reservations. It is not my word, it is the word of the Honorable Supreme Court in Champakam Dorairajan case of 1951. After the Supreme Court judgment, Jawaharlal Nehru jumped into action and brought first constitutional amendment of 1951 to provide that there is no wrong in providing reservations to communities which, in the opinion of the state, are not adequately represented in government employment. So this is a clear violation of Supreme Court's judgment. Supreme Court said caste-based reservations cannot be given, whereas the First Amendment again provided caste-based reservations to such of the castes which are not adequately represented in government employment. Instead, reservations could have been provided to individuals based on their economic condition. Employment is not the only method to uplift downtrodden people. In the name of giving reservations in jobs, these communities have been kept oppressed for 75 years. This was only a political move. Because Dr. Ambedkar started a political party in the name of Scheduled Caste Federation of India in 1951, and he was preparing his party to contest throughout the country. So after all, these are politics. When Ambedkar started Scheduled Caste Federation, immediately Nehru brought the first constitutional amendment to say that if the government does anything for advancement of interest of educationally backward classes, economically backward classes, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, that shall not militate against equality enshrined in the Constitution. That was provided as Clause 4 to Article 15, and Article 16 was also amended, and Clause 4 was added to the effect that the state shall not be prevented from providing reservations to such of the communities which, in the opinion of the government, are not adequately represented in government employment. The whole country saw the vision of Nehru to be wider, while that of Ambedkar was to be narrow. As a result, scheduled tribes did not vote that party, backward classes have not voted that party, and OCs also have not voted that party. The parody is that even scheduled caste voters have not voted to Ambedkar's party, as a result of which his party gained just 2.38% of polled and valid votes, and his political party was totally wiped out, and he himself lost the election. He, of course, contested in a by-election in 1954 in Bombay, and there he stood in third position. In fact, he was so much worried that even scheduled caste people did not believe him, did not vote him. As a result of which, I suppose, he has relinquished his caste card in 1956 October, and he immediately changed the name of his political party also to Republic Party of India, and he became a Buddhist, a casteless person. Unfortunately, his followers are not following his path. His path of hard work, perseverance, pursuit of education, and converting to Buddhism, to a casteless state. So please understand, today's reservations in jobs are the result of First Amendment of 1951 introduced by Jawaharlal Nehru. When the Honorable Supreme Court delivered this judgment in Champakam Dorairajan case, Ambedkar was there very much. He did not oppose the judgment. He did not file any review petition. It was first the Madras High Court which ruled that caste-based reservations are not valid under Indian Constitution. The Tamil Nadu government carried the matter in appeal to the Honorable Supreme Court, which also confirmed the judgment of the Honorable High Court of Madras. But Dr. Ambedkar did not interfere because he is a just person. His only fallacy, his only mistake was starting a political party in the name of Scheduled Caste Federation of India, whereby he is branded a scheduled caste favorite person. Nowadays, we see so much about him on the social media that he said like that, he said like this, etc. But they were all not truths. His second wife was a Brahmin by name Savita Kabir. He lived until the last of his life as a Hindu. He converted to Buddhism only in October 1956 and died in December 1956. He relinquished his Dalit caste card. He changed his political party's name. Coming to political reservations, they are provided under Article 243D for Gram Panchayats and Article 243T for municipalities. These reservations were given by P.V. Narasimha Rao tenure through 73 and 74th Constitutional Amendment of 1993. They came into effect from 1994. That means, please understand that job reservations were given by Nehru, not Ambedkar. Political reservations were given by P.V. Narasimha Rao, not Ambedkar. Unfortunately, under the wrong impression or under the guise of wrong impression, I find so many YouTubers, especially belonging to scheduled castes, using filthy language against other communities and especially Brahmins and against the Sanatana Dharma and its followers. It's not fair. The society has given them reservations with compassion to develop. They were all basically from the Sanatana Dharma. In fact, they are the owners and followers of Sanatana Dharma. They were the original inhabitants and rulers of this Jambu Dweep. In due course of time, due to political wars and aggressions, they have lost their power, authority, properties, and as a result of which they are insulted. But castes do not come by birth, and castes have not been formed along with formation of the Mother Earth. They have come to existence only due to political reasons. Otherwise, there would not be so much of animosities among communities. We can see the episode of Pandavas when Yudhishthira was going to play the deceitful game of dice with Shakuni on behalf of Duryodhana. He was an emperor. In the game of dice, first he lost his money, his treasury, then he lost his seat of power, then he lost all his family, his wife, and then he himself lost. As a result of which, their wife Draupadi was insulted, they were insulted, and they had to live in forest for 11 years as tribals, and after that they had to live in disguise as servants under King Virat. The lesson to learn from this episode is that when they return to Kurukshetra war, they 5 alone have not come. They have come with about 7 lakh soldiers and the attendant paraphernalia. Of course, Kauravas were 11 lakhs with accompanying paraphernalia. And Pandavas won the war and re-established their kingdom. This is what today's of scheduled castes should learn. They should fight for their lost kingdoms united with all other communities. If they are divided and they fight in their caste name, they will get sure reservations, rations and pensions, but not political power. The state would always try to divide and rule the society. In fact, SC/ST Atrocities Act was a conspiracy against scheduled castes to alienate them from the mainstream of society, as a result of which today other communities are not dealing with scheduled castes socially, financially and economically. As a result of which scheduled castes are forced to live again in their SC colonies. If they are intelligent, if they are wise, the first thing they have to do is to agitate against the abolition of SC/ST Atrocities Act. Nobody can insult them and nobody intends to insult them. People want to mingle. People want, especially the youth of today, are not bothered about castes. So today we have discussed Article 243D and 243T relating to reservations in jobs and reservations in local bodies. However, please be posted that there are political reservations to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in legislatures, in parliament and the assemblies under Article 330 and 332. That was the only reservation provided under Indian Constitution. They were meant to be in force for 20 years in terms of Article 334, which were being extended from time to time every 10 years, which are now in force up to 2030. But there is a widespread wrong impression in the society that the Constitution provided for job reservations to scheduled castes and they were limited for 10 years and that they were being extended every 10 years. But that is a fad. That is not truth. There should be reservations for the downtrodden and the poor as long as this country exists. Why 10 years? And in the present form of reservation system is a lopsided system. Due to this system, a countable benefit has not accrued to any community. Even if after 75 years of its implementation, at least 99% of scheduled caste people have not got government employment. Imagine when it would provide at least 50% employment to scheduled caste. It may take several thousand years or it may not happen until India loses independence again due to its inequalities, as a result of which has come the communal fights. It is time for the polity, press and judiciary and intelligentsia of this country to think of social reforms and political reform to save the country from disaster. Thank you. Thank you for watching my video. I request you to please subscribe, share and comment on my videos and I will be glad to reply to your worthy comments. Let us together take these constitutional messages to length and breadth of India to every citizen so that social, political, economic changes would accrue for the good of the country. Thank you.